this is not a spring chick. We're coming to you live from the sea mission. We're almost live. Oh, you can hear the cars. Yesterday. Oh, I turn this around. It's supposed to be like this. Things are a little bit, let's just see, not quite normal. And see, it's gonna take a little bit of time because last night or yesterday, election day, now they all came all the comments on the headline of the day. You can see we are here at the SEMA show. We're watching drifting just below us, but I guess the news still continues. And Obama dances at the White House over the Republican disaster.
Well, yeah, it was a tremendous refuting that of Republicans going after the Obama administration because like they said, if it would have been a refuting of him, he would have lost the Senate, but they maintained the Senate. Of course, I think they did lose 81 seats in both houses, but that's not, anybody else would be unhappy, but not Obama.
Yeah, but Republicans were the real losers in the election.
Well, yeah, because the Republicans basically blamed the fact they didn't take the Senate on the Tea Party, and that they didn't take 100 seats on the Tea Party. Of course, all but 11 Tea Party members won.
Oh.
Yeah, they said was it 75% of the Tea Parties won their elections.
That's pretty high.
Yeah, but the Republicans thought that they could have done better without the Tea Party interference. So.
A new eruption at Indonesia's Mount Merapi volcano.
I know it pisses off Al Gore when they tell you that one eruption has put more pollutants into the air than all the automobiles driving for a year did.
Do you think that's possible?
No, well, it's not possible to get him upset, but that's exactly the truth, though.
Actually, it is true.
It is true. It's just that most of the global warming is not from automobiles; it's from volcanic eruptions, folks. There's a lot of them.
And U.S. proposes Israel lease lands from Palestinians under future deal.
Well, yeah, they turn over Israel to the Palestinians, and the Palestinians will allow the Israelis to live on their lands, which if anybody's ever bothered to watch the Ten Commandments, you'll know that they've had since the dawn of time. Palestinians came in and took the land later.
Oh. And the wave of mail bomb attacks in Athens reaches Germany.
Well, that's basically, they've had anarchists in that part of the world since before my grandmother was born in the 19th century.
Yeah, so that's not new, is it?
I mean, they always have somebody that goes around blowing up things.
And Boehner promises a new Congress if the GOP takes over.
Well, they said the trick is, if he appoints, I think, Congressman Lewis to head the budget, Ways and Means or budget, it basically is business as usual for both parties.
And a disgruntled worker saw Walmart as a Goliath before shooting.
Well, I don't understand why they keep saying German worker.
What do you mean German worker?
It means he's not an American. So why would you hire a guy that wasn't American to work in a Walmart? Because you basically have, you're not supposed to
hire Mexicans.
Well, I know, but why would a worker from Germany want to come over and work at a Walmart?
I don't know. It's a job.
Well, but all the Latins, they got those jobs first, so, it's got to be a job that the illegal aliens wouldn't take.
Yeah, Obama pushes tax break plan for businesses.
Well, it's the same plan that he had before. That, I'll give you a tax break for every employee you hire if the employee stays on the job for 18 months. You're still paying the guy for a year and a half and getting nothing in return. You're spending money, that you don't have. Like the day.
So 2 years after you hire somebody.
That's right. For 2 years, you're spending money you don't have.
And San Francisco approves a law requiring healthier kids' meals.
Yeah, basically they've decided that they're going to take it upon themselves to end the obesity problem. Instead of basically saying to the parents, don't feed your kids the fattening food, they're going to make certain there's no fattening food for the kids to eat.
Yeah, but this is ridiculous because they can, they restrict what the kids eat in school, right?
Yeah.
But they're restricting what people can buy at McDonald's?
They're going to do it. If the people won't do it, they're going to force the people in violation of your rights. I mean, you should have a right to eat what you choose, not in San Francisco.
Gosh. Welcome to the nanny state. U.S. Civil Rights Commission sidetracked by members' protest.
Well, yeah, they're not coming. They said the Obama-led Justice Department refusing to send their people over for testimony, and they're refusing to obey the laws. My guess is you're going to see more civil rights protests about this election than even the last election. And Obama is basically, people have already said in the Justice Department, white people can't be discriminated against at polls, only black people. They didn't say Latinos, they didn't say Indians, they didn't say Asians, only black people can be discriminated against.
Oh, interesting.
That's a little bit racist from Harold Holder, isn't it?
Yeah. Immigrants gaining jobs, native-born Americans aren't, or native-born.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I think they were talking, that's from the Pew Institute, which is a left-leaning organization, saying that basically people that are born here come last on the food chain, which is why there's so many of them out of work. It's because the people, they say, well, those Republican corporations are doing it. Well, no, those businesses that are hiring most of the illegal aliens happen to be some Democrats, folks.
Payback time.
The Republicans are going to go after they said they're going to, they control the House. They control the impeachment proceedings. They will impeach Obama. They said it's going to be one court, going to have one investigation after another, after another, after another, and all these people.
This is not going to be pretty, because they can call it, the House can call investigations, can't they?
The House, if the House can impeach Obama, that's a very simple thing. They send it to the Senate, and there's a lot of, they said the Senate is currently on probation.
What do you mean they're on
that
probation?
If they don't fix Obamacare, if they don't stop the spending, they're going to throw them out.
Oh.
They've got a year.
Oh, that's
to
right.
To
because
stop
they're going to
it.
get pissed off at their senators.
Because they didn't kick the people out, which I liked what they found out. It seems that the Republicans that were running that lost in the Senate never had a chance. They all lost in the early elections. Isn't that amazing?
In other words.
Yeah, the voting that was done before, and here's a good one. Well, if the people from out of this country that generally vote Republican had been allowed to vote, the election would have swung the other direction. They disenfranchised anybody that any I think was it 1,800,000 American military personnel were disenfranchised by 29 Democratic states. That's a lot of votes for elections.
That's a lot
folks.
of votes. Analysis: united but divided.
Well, because the country doesn't want. Okay, anybody with half a brain knows if you give the Democrats the control of both houses, the Justice Department, the presidency, they're going to do exactly what they did. Well, they gave Obama, the Justice Department, the Senate, and the executive office, but made certain he couldn't get the money is controlled by the House, which means they've stopped his money supply, which he can't do anything about. He can executive order things till hell freezes over. He can't pay for them. The House is the only ones that can approve the spending.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Interesting. U.S. Space Shuttle program faces its final countdown.
Well, that's because Obama doesn't believe in space flight. Muslims generally don't, which he's not a Muslim. He just doesn't believe in anything that non-Muslims believe in. So.
Backlash continues at NPR over firing an Obama worshiper.
Well, yeah. Well, first of all, we're talking Juan Williams is butt kisser for the President of the United States Supreme. This is the guy that said on national television that he said that this election is going to be like the Titanic running into the iceberg, and that large percentage of people supporting a Democratic candidates are going to be the underneath side of the iceberg, and Republicans are going to run aground. Well, unfortunately, it was the Democrats on the Titanic and the Republicans of the iceberg.
Contraception to be free under health care law, which Obama said would not happen.
Well, it's because I was talking to a guy from the press today, and he said he actually, for his newspaper, had read health care, and he realized that all of this stuff, that he said nobody read it. If they'd have read it, they'd have known what was in it. And he said there's more surprises even worse than this, because he's a senior citizen. He says he doesn't want somebody talking to him about dying. He had no intention of going. But by the health care laws, Obama, you're required to talk to him. Or they can probably jail you if you don't. Well, I'm not going to talk to him.
A generation gap divides troops on gays in the military.
Well, because the majority of the people in the military are not young. They don't want the gays there. The younger people basically don't care because there's god-awful lot of them that are fooling around on both sides of the sex issue. So.
A deal or punt decision on Bush tax cuts is Obama's.
Well, Obama basically has already said he's perfectly willing to concede the tax breaks for the people making under $250,000 a year. But if you make more than that, he's going to set them aside and they will discuss it later, which is the same thing he's been saying for months.
And Rhode Island votes to keep plantations in state name.
Because it was Rhode Island, the state with plantations. It has nothing to do with racism. The plantations mean different depending upon what part of the country you live in, folks.
And a Monty Bubbleism from the Mark Twain of the Animal Kingdom.
That when you're expected to win the election by a large majority and all of a sudden you lose by a large majority,